Welcome to Brave New Bookshelf, a podcast that explores the fascinating intersection of AI and authorship. Join hosts Steph Pajonas and Danica Favorite as they dive into thought-provoking discussions, debunk myths, and highlight the transformative role of AI in the publishing industry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an episode of the Brave New Bookshelf. I'm one of your co-hosts, Steph Pajonas, CTO of the Future Fiction Academy, where we teach authors how to use AI in any part of their process. I have started a Substack, which I'm really excited about, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been talking about AI. I decided to just be out there with it, talk about AI, prompting, writing with AI, just like anything in general that I can give out there as free advice. Of course, I do give lots of advice in the Future Fiction Academy for people who are there and their students and they're learning. So I generally try to spread the love as much as possible. So I'm at spajonas.substack.com. That is not an easy thing to say. And hopefully you guys can come check it out. I'll make sure that I put a link in the show notes for you because I want everybody to have all the free advice as much as possible, Anyway, so I am here with my lovely co-host, as always, Ms. Danica Favorite. How are you doing today?
I'm good. We were just talking before we started recording how ready we all are for the weekend, and I'm totally feeling it. I'm like, okay, is it weekend yet? Is it weekend yet? Almost, everyone, almost. And I know you'll be listening to this episode probably on a Thursday, but just remember you're really close to the weekend, so you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll get through it. So yeah, I'm Danica Favorite. I am the community manager at Publish Drive, where we help authors on every stage of their writing journey, whether that is formatting their manuscript, finding the great metadata for their books and writing blurbs, or creating covers to then distributing your book to the largest worldwide audience. And then finally, once that book is selling, we can help you split royalties. So lots of cool things that we do, and love partnering with the Future Fiction Academy and Steph, because if you need help writing that book, obviously they can help you. But what's also exciting is our guest today is Jocelyn Lindsay, and she's also a book coach. She does a lot of other cool stuff, and we're going to talk to her about all the other cool stuff we're doing. But I know her contact details will be in the show notes as well. Yeah, we are here for helping authors and wanting to make sure that whatever you choose to do in your author career as part of your author journey, that a large variety of options are available to you, and that's what we're all about. And do read Steph's Substack. I have been loving it. She and I have been riffing off of each other a little bit in Substack because that's what we do, and love it. Love getting to work with this really cool human being, and love that we are getting ready to interview another really cool human being. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jocelyn, and Jocelyn is going to tell us all about herself, or at least the parts she wants the public to know. So Jocelyn, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with cool human beings talking about technology and AI and all the exciting things that are happening in the world these days, especially with writing and publishing. So I'm a book coach, I'm a writer, I'm a gardener, I'm an everything. I'm highly creative. If it's something that has to do with creativity, I somehow find myself right in the middle of it. I started publishing last year, but I started writing years ago, and I always knew I was going to self-publish. I've been watching it since Hugh Howey, Amanda Hawking, way back in the cave days of self-publishing, and I knew I was going to be here. Life got involved, things happened, and I really needed the technology to catch up. And for what I was envisioning of how I wanted to create books and put stories out into the world. And we're here. I've been waiting 35 years for this.
Right.
My little 15-year-old heart is so happy. I am just like beside myself. I want to be in everything. I want my fingers in all of the different pies out there right now. So if it's technology and it's AI and if it helps me get my stories in the world, if it helps me help other writers get their stories in the world, I'm here for it because, like you were saying, I am passionate about helping writers get their stories out. It's my calling to help people get stories into the world. Yeah.
that. I love that. And I think that seems to be the kind of person we attract to our show, is really those people who want to help other writers and believe that the AI is an assistive tool. There's no moral designation of what AI is. It's just a tool, just as a hammer or a pen or whatever has no moral value.
No, and I'm a child of the 80s. And I played D&D, I read comic books, and a number two pencil was how I brought my characters to life. That's really where I started getting into art, was teaching myself how to paint, how to draw, because I wanted to see those worlds. My poor parents, I even went out into the backyard and dug my worlds. I made my worlds like in the garden, my fantasy world, my little elf houses. I really wanted to bring these things I was seeing into the world. And AI is another medium. It's another tool for us to be using. And these days it's a binary conversation. You're either pro or against. And that's saying I'm pro Photoshop and anti number two pencil. I don't see it as that kind of a conversation. It's not that reductive. It's both. I think as an artist, we use the mediums. We can use AI and still use paintbrushes. And so I think the two work very well together.
Yeah, you use all of the tools at your disposal, right? I'm a big fan of all of Photoshop and Midjourney, and maybe drawing some stick figures to give some reference material or whatever it may be. Just like I'm also a big fan of AI audio, I tell people that just because you choose to do an AI audiobook does not mean that you can never do a human one. You could do a full cast one someday. It is open to you. You can use all of these tools. You don't have to just choose one.
Yeah, either one is not a replacement. It's not to the erasure of the other.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really a great way to introduce what is our first question, is how are you approaching AI in publishing, which I think you've already answered, that it's just a tool. But I'm curious, like, what kinds of AI tools are you using and how are you using them?
I'm using it for everything I can use it for. I'm using it really as an amplification of my brain so that I can think faster, think more. I have 12 chat GPT windows open with 12 different conversations. I'm going to sound like totally like creatively like a tornado, but I constantly am trying to use it to support and amplify the creativity that I have to bring it to the stories that I want to tell. And it's not a shortcut, because there are times when using chat or using Claude can take 3 times as long as just writing it out. And you've talked about this before. It's not plug and play. It's still very much like you have to pay attention to it. And so I'm using it for brainstorming, for story brainstorming. I'm using it for feedback, structural, developmental edit feedback on things that I need to have looked at. I'm using it for marketing. I'm using it to help me identify audiences, help me create blurbs, ad copy, develop hooks for social media. I'm using it to analyze Facebook ads. I'm using it to analyze Amazon ads. I'm designing art for Instagram. I'm creating book trailers. I'm using it really as that amplification. And that's really how I see it, as amplified intelligence. It's not artificial. It's me amplified. And just like me, I have my moments where I'm hallucinating. So it's like sometimes I don't trust everything that comes out of my own head. It's not a replacement. I'm not replacing myself. And in fact, it's really highlighting my creativity in a way that I couldn't before, that I couldn't 6 months ago, that I couldn't 3 weeks ago, or like with VEO 3, that I couldn't a week ago.
I really love like what you're saying about it's not a replacement, it's amplification. And I like that, the idea of changing that A in the AI to amplified intelligence, because I think you're right. There's no one who's ever going to be able to replace you as a person, but with bringing in those tools, that amplification, I'm like, yeah.
Really, it's amplifying the human. We're so afraid of the human being erased, but it's giving us the opportunity to amplify what we're doing in a way we couldn't do. that makes the human even more important. And I think it's still keeping this very centered on the human side of technology. Things in publishing that still matter, the storytelling, the craft. There's things that we're always going to come back to, those foundational elements of craft. What is telling a good story? And as humans, we've been doing that for thousands of years. So I really feel like that's not going away. It's just, how do we amplify our skill set with it?
I think that's a really good point. I was thinking about what you were saying and how that ties to ethics and how people get really concerned about, can we make the AI do unethical things, or is the AI being ethical? Yeah, if you're unethical. But if you're going to be ethical in how you do that, then we're going to get more of that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, all of those fears that we have over AI and AI ethics and AI taking over, it all comes down to the human behind the AI.
We've been having this conversation with every major technology shift. Typewriters replaced the written word. Typing pools were replaced by computers. I was telling you before the show, I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s being accused of, I was learning Photoshop and Corel at the time and learning how to do digital art, and I was told I was killing artists. I was taking jobs from artists. I had been an artist. My whole goal, I went to art school. I was going to be a traditional artist. I was going to paint covers for D&D books, but I saw the writing on the wall and I thought, I better learn this other tool. This is just what happens with technology. It's part of progress. And I don't think the fear is, we fight about it being binary. Is it bad? But it's really more of a conversation of, how are we changing? And I think it's a fear of, what's my purpose now? If I'm a traditional artist and technology is progressing and the world is changing, do I still matter? I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. How do I exist in this world now that's changing so fast? How do I not get left behind? I understand that fear very well.
I think that is such a great question. Do I still matter?
Yeah, how do I matter? I don't think there's necessarily easy answers, and I think they're very individual answers.
I think a lot of people are trying to figure out where they fit into this new paradigm that we have, right? Because the paradigm is continually shifting currently. Like almost every week, there's something new, something crazy, something incredible. And so the basic instinct is just to push back, just to be like, no, just say no. I see a lot of people saying, we can't just lay down and let them do this. We have to fight. We have to fight. And I want to be like, what happened to the people that fought against the automobiles? What about the people who fought against the printing press? What about the people who fought against the internet? Where are they now? Is that where you want to be? 5 years from now? I don't think so, because this war that they want us to wage, it's over. It already happened. There is no going back and redoing things or like trying to turn the clock back. So we have to accept what we have in front of us, and it's okay to not use it if you don't want to, but it is going to be there. So if you want to level up your skills and you want to stay relevant in this time, it's probably best to at least try to figure it out a little bit.
And I think it's really interesting, the war. It really doesn't have to be a war. It never needed to be a war. I'm really interested in the question of, what can I build now? What can I create now that I couldn't before? Not how do I hold on to what I was before or what was there before, but how do I keep moving forward? How do I help the people around me move forward? How do I help writers move forward? And to me, it's not a battle that needs the energy or the time to be put into it. Anybody who's posting AI or talking about AI, and you know this very well, both of you, is you're killing artists, you're killing writers, you're leading to our demise. And I look around at my house and I'm like, I have so much art on my walls. I have so many books behind me. It's not a battle that I'm trying to make somebody extinct. This is not going away. If an artist came to me saying, I have some really cool ideas for your story, I'd love to talk to you, I would be far more receptive than you are leading to the demise of art. I'm going to shame you and bully you into stopping what you're doing. That's really bad business practice. And like I said, I really understand the fear of where these artists are coming from. I've done this art. I've been there. I understand the being afraid of where am I going to be? What is left for me?
And yet, I don't know about you guys, but have any of you been to an art gallery recently? Because they're still there. You can still go to art galleries and you can
Oh
still
yeah.
see art and you can still buy paintings and all of the different art things. It isn't that it's gone away. It's just changed shape and form. And isn't it great that somebody who perhaps didn't have the ability to create that masterpiece they wanted now can do? And to
Absolutely.
me, sure. Are there writers who are going to be out of work? Yes. But why? Because they're choosing not to learn and adapt. Meanwhile, all of these other writers who haven't been able to write a book or haven't been able to get their stories out suddenly have a new way to do it. So it's not that we're killing writers, it's that writers who are choosing not to adapt are choosing to die.
And like we said, it's like vinyl. The first medium of music that I had growing up was the 8-track. Come on, the big giant cassette that got plugged into the car, that went away. There's that meme about us Gen Xers that we've had to give up so many different types of music, but there's still vinyl. The artisan still very much has a place in all the various industries. And they're not going to go away. A lot of it comes down to, frankly, the quality of what they're offering.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that because I was just in Target the other day. This still blows me away because I have a love-hate relationship with Target. But one of my hate things about Target is they've significantly scaled back their book section. However, they had a giant vinyl section. And I'm like,
What?
this is so weird,
What?
Target. Good for them, good for the people who love vinyl. But I think that is really the point is whatever we can do to make things beautiful and to celebrate our art and to allow as many people as possible access to that, I think that's a good thing.
One of the things that AI art really allows for is representation. It's allowing people to create art that is not the culturally, socially defined norm of what somebody should be or look like. There's some amazing art that's out there that the artist wouldn't have been able to make before, that never would have had the opportunity to reach an audience before. We're humans. It's all about the sky falling. It's that scarcity thought that it's all going to be gone and it's all going to disappear and we're always waiting for the end of the world. But I choose to see it as a great opportunity to do so much more than we could have.
I totally agree.
And back to like how I'm using it in my business, if I don't understand something these days, I take a screenshot of it and I give it to chat and I say, tell me what this is because I don't get it. I, if I don't understand something, chat gets a screenshot and gets the opportunity to explain it to me. And for giggles one day, I took those terms and services that we're always clicking accept on, that you're like agreeing to when the man shows up at the door, you're going to give him your kidney and you're going to be like, what? And you're going to be like, you signed this when you signed up for this app. I had chat look and tell me like, what are all these terms? Explain this to me. What am I actually signing? So I have found even just in basic business practices, if I don't get something, give it to chat. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes trying to figure that out. Chat has 2 seconds to do it.
That's right. I asked chat the other day to help me. I had a very long document that for some reason had, in order to make the paragraphs, there was like a return at the end of every line. I was like, what is happening here? This is annoying, right? So I wanted to keep all of the double returns between paragraphs, but not within the paragraph. I was like, get rid of these. And I could not figure out how to do it. I uploaded a screenshot to chat. I said, write me an expression in the find and replace so that it can do what I want it to do. It wrote it, it took care of it. I was done. I probably in the past would have spent a good half an hour Googling and trying to figure that out, but now I can just do it in the flash of a pan. It's great. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Or I remember sitting there hitting in Word, like, okay, show me what the code is, pressing the button to see the code, and then going, oh my God, I have to delete how many returns? And then it became, oh, now I can find it. Now I can find and replace it. And now it can be done somewhere else that I don't have to look at it. I don't even have to press find and replace anymore, right?
I think that it gives us so much more bandwidth to do the things we really want to do. And I know Steph and I talk about this a lot, where it isn't even that you have to use AI for everything, but for the stuff where you're spending hours on a task that isn't what you love or isn't bringing you joy or is just something you have to do, suddenly there's this other way to get that done so you can spend more of your time on things you actually want to do, which is really great.
Right. Like this morning, Chat and I worked out the next 90 days of strategy for my marketing.
Nice, nice.
June, July, and August are like front loaded now. And yeah, we sat down and figured out what am I doing? And my chat knows my audience. I've trained chat, so it has my audience. It knows I uploaded every newsletter I've ever written. I upload all my social media, so it has access to everything. And when I need to figure out, like, okay, this Instagram didn't work, why? And put the stats in and figure out what's going on. Or, okay, we're going into the third quarter. I need the next 3 months. What am I doing for the next 3 months?
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to look at where our second question is, what does your workflow look like? Because you do all of these different things. Are there a few workflows that you could pull out and share with our audience that might be helpful to them? That, like, I love this idea of uploading your Instagram post and saying, why didn't this work or whatever. So what kind of workflows do you use in your business that would be helpful to some of our listeners?
One of the things that I found extremely helpful was creating strategies for my newsletter. How many newsletter classes do all authors take? Every author is looking for the silver bullet on what's going to get them 10,000 subscribers in 2 days with 100% engagement. Sadly, I can't even get chat to do that for me yet. I'm not that amplified. But so I started going through and having the conversation of I need a newsletter strategy. And I did this last fall. And I talked to it about how many times do I want to post. And so I just went through the questions of what do I want to post? How many times do I want to post? Here's what I'm writing. Here's what I'm thinking. I downloaded my brain into those first few sessions with chat, and we just put together, chat and I put together, I really should name chat. We put together a strategy on if I'm posting once a week, what are the themes in my book? What am I posting on? What is other strategy that's out there? And now I have 6 months worth of weekly newsletters, and I take those newsletters and I upload the stats. What's the open rate? What's the unsubscribe? And now part of my workflow is uploading all that information. As soon as a newsletter goes out, I upload the newsletter, and then a few days later, I'll upload the stats. I have Excel spreadsheets for everything. And then I can go back. Part of that workflow is now going back and saying, okay, what trends am I noticing? What am I missing? Let's hypothesize, why did this newsletter get 6 unsubscribes when the ones before it didn't? Is that because I suddenly sold something? That's become extremely helpful because I love the data. I don't love getting there. I like having the data. And so based on that now, I've gone into ConvertKit and have started segmenting my email list, and I have BookFunnels subscribers come into a different area into before they even get into my main list onboarding. So getting that information, part of that workflow has now just been seeing what am I missing, where am I missing it, how can I close those gaps, and then is closing those gaps part of social media, newsletter, where? So I would say really with the workflow, it's what can I do better?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I'm really glad that's the tip that you shared with us because I look at that and I think a lot of us, we spin our wheels trying to have that perfect newsletter or how to do it. And sometimes we're so close. And I say this a lot of times when I'm teaching people about writing blurbs and all of that kind of stuff is you're so close to your work and to your newsletter and to what your thoughts are and what, oh, I really loved this paragraph in my newsletter. This was my favorite part of the newsletter. Oh, but I love putting pictures of my cat in my newsletter. And the AI has zero emotional attachment to any of that. And
Right.
so it can look at the stuff you did and say, yeah, I know you love putting all your cat pictures, but only 2% of your readers like cats.
Right.
Um,
And oh my God, I was trying to close some of these gaps to get better open rates, and it said your audience is Gen X. Gen X typically does not open emails till Friday afternoons or Saturdays. And I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to send it Thursday morning then. And so I'm trying now to shift into a different day and time that I send my email because I've noticed this trend. On Thursdays, for the first 24 hours, I don't get any opens. And then all of a sudden, Friday hits and my open rate is going straight up. And I'm like, oh, so it's just even something so little that for me would take me hours to go and try and find the data, to put the data together myself with spreadsheets. And I used to do that. And now it's like, I can just say, why isn't this working?
interpreting the data and the trends in the data, like that takes a lot of brain power that I'll be honest, I don't have that anymore.
I
It's
was going to
gone.
say, I love the data. I hate the data analysis. Like, I don't want to do any of that data analysis. And I'm going to say that is the perfect thing to say about Gen X because that's totally true. I save most of my email opening for like Friday and Saturday, sometimes Sunday morning, because you got to get it done then. Otherwise, it's sitting in my inbox. I'm not touching it.
Exactly. And I was like floored when chat suggested that. And I'm like, when do millennials open their email? When do, Gen Z opens their email? And I went down a rabbit hole of this conversation of email opening. And I'm like, if I was writing for Gen X, that's going to change my newsletter strategy. I am. And if I was writing for like the Alpha or the Zs, I would change that as well. Because I had just arbitrarily picked Thursday. It was just like, I think I'll put my newsletter out Thursday. Isn't that what most of us do?
I actually send mine out on Fridays. If I
Yes.
send it out at all, it's a Friday unless it's like some big new release I have to participate in. But
Yeah.
Fridays it is because I'm
Well,
a Gen Xer and I love Fridays.
and since I'm also a book coach and I keep my audiences on the Venn diagram cross, but I have two separate businesses. The streams do not cross. And so I do two newsletters a week. And so I have to be keeping track of different metrics for each different newsletter. And I couldn't keep track of the analytics. I wouldn't want to. But I'm tickled pink when it spits out the numbers. I find it highly entertaining. Something that I hated doing is now entertainment.
It is really interesting to go those rabbit holes and you don't have to do the work. You literally are just sitting there with ChatGPT. So what about this? Okay, cool. What about this? What about this? Like you just ask them their questions. I feel like almost you get to be like that 2-year old. Why?
Why?
But
Yeah, it's
why?
why. Yeah, I think I would say the other tip I would give that is now becoming really useful as we get more research. I ask it like, what's the latest strategy with TikTok? What are the experts saying about Instagram? What are they saying about posting on Facebook? And then I'll have that conversation. What are the experts on newsletters saying about newsletters? How does that compare to what I'm doing? And it's really interesting to see, again, checking my own work, being able to look and find these gaps and where I can start improving what I'm doing.
Claude will go out and actually do the web searches and it
Yeah.
brings in data and it analyzes it and then it'll look at your stuff and compare it and contrast it. And that's one of the beautiful things about AI now is that it doesn't have to rely solely on training data anymore. It can access the internet and figure things out. You can even tell it to go look at the top books in your genre on Amazon. It will go out, it'll find them, it'll bring them in. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that's another thing I've done is looked at when I start putting together marketing material, what are the Amazon reviews to my genre? What is being said? What's being loved? What's being not loved? And using that to find, even if it's finding keywords, finding direct audience language.
I'm going to point out one of my really big pet peeves about the writing industry is that we do this get advice about our career by committee. We go into these groups and we're like, here, this is what's going on. What is your advice on pen names? What is your advice on this? And you have these random people who know nothing about your writing business, who know nothing about your genre, who know nothing about you. And they are spouting out all of these expert pieces of wisdom. And then they take it to heart. And I'm like, dude, this isn't right for you. But with AI, you can actually go in and say, hey, I'm looking at launching a pen name. Should I do a pen name? Number one, this is what I write. This is what I want to write. Should I do a pen name or not? What does this genre have? What are the key underpinnings here? What do I need to know about this? And here's what my actual career looks like right now. This is what my numbers look like. Is it smart for me to do this? Is it smart for me to do that? I was talking about some of the sales analytics of Publish Drive where you can dial down to the countries you're selling and things like that. And that's data about you and your business. And yet you go into these writing groups and people are like, hey, what language should I start to translate first? How about you look at data, number one, where are your books selling? What are the themes in the different languages? For example, my books do terrible in foreign markets because they're so American, and that will be different as I am shifting. Actually, that's not true. Australia loves my books as well. But as I'm shifting into writing different things now, that's where I'm taking my research. I'm not going into these random Facebook groups where everybody has an opinion and none of it is based on data except their own personal experience or things they heard.
It's one of the things I tell writers I work with. Please don't join a critique group. Please go make it a margarita group. Make it a community admiration group. But getting advice from people who don't know you or don't know what your goals are, it's so dangerous. I have seen so many writing and publishing careers derailed by this. And I think about starting as a new writer with no experience whatsoever, going on to chat and saying, I'm a new writer, I have this idea, and just starting from ground zero. Because I see a lot of new writers also get caught in the strategies and tactics that worked in 2012 and 13. We're not in the same world. Or getting caught in, he told me I should spend $10,000 a month on Facebook ads, but he has 300 books published. It's apples and oranges.
Yeah. And seriously, there is one author in these groups. I sometimes want to just punch this author because I'm like, dude, you are giving a beginner author advice that should only be given to people who are at a certain level.
Yeah.
And you're expecting this beginner author to do these things that they can't do yet. And like,
Exactly.
give them the tools they want. And I'm actually going to steal your margarita group idea because when I first started writing, I did have a local critique group. We all wrote very different genres. And frankly, we all gave each other really bad advice. I really wish one of the critique group members has since passed. And I wish I could have gone back to this woman and just be like, dude, you had a good book for your genre, but none of us in the critique group understood that. And you gave up writing too soon. And here's the thing, the woman is dead now, guys. Her dream got killed because of a well-meaning group of writers who wanted to help and didn't know how to help because they didn't know her genre. I look at that now, and if she were writing now and she could put that in there and have all of that, she might have gotten to get that book published. But also, what I really liked about getting together with those writers is just sitting and talking about writing and drinking. Probably a lot of the drinking, but not so much now because I'm a woman of a certain age and too much alcohol is not good for me. Like, why not just have writers get together and drink wine? Because that
Yeah,
sounds pretty awesome to me.
get together and talk about the things that are hard, the successes, and just enjoy each other with where you are on the journey. I've worked with writers who are probably like the writer you're talking about, who try and come back to writing after just being destroyed in some of these groups. And it's hard. It's really
Yeah,
hard.
it is hard.
Yeah,
And I was one of those who almost quit. There was a point where this woman totally trashed my book and trashed this heroine about how desperately she hated this woman. And I'm like, oh my God, I based that character and Tyler off of me and you hate her. Ah! And like I almost quit and I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because I have many published books now. She's got a couple and hasn't been writing in like 10 years. Can you imagine if I had let that woman's voice make me quit?
yeah.
And that's where I really do love sometimes the AI tools because they can be really much more objective. And if you give them all the information, if you tell them, hey, this is all the information, what am I missing? Because that's often really important because you can't see the forest for the trees and you don't know what you're missing until you're told what you're missing. And then you can come up with a plan and suddenly you've got this opportunity to be way more successful.
I'm working with a writer now who is a brand new writer, never written. She's midlife, another Gen Xer, and I'm helping her learn how to prompt in chat. She's very AI leaning, and the great thing about chat is she can ask it 47 times what an inciting incident is and have it explain it to her in 300 different ways and ask it over and over again. And then I can look at the work, I can help her practice. She comes to me, I look at what she's writing, we talk about what she wants to do, we talk about how she can prompt. She's learning how to write, but she's getting there so much faster through AI because she just doesn't even know the basics. And she knows if she lets Chat or Claude spit something out at her, she's not going to know whether it's good or not. And so I'm helping her provide that sounding board for what's good. How do you train it to become your companion in writing? How do you become a better writer so you can go on? And it's really fascinating because she is learning what takes most writers 20 years. She is picking things up so fast and she's turning in pages now. And it's just like I am watching her at light speed become a good writer because she can spend all this time doing this tactical learning with her AI buddy.
And the AI buddy is not going to be like, why am I telling you this again? Are you stupid?
Exactly.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
I
That's
was
one of the
thinking
things I
that
love about
too.
it. I love that.
Well,
Like, it would have smothered me with a pillow, like 10 questions back by this point.
yeah, and even when I tell clients, ask me anything, ask me as many times as you want, they don't want to because, and I know this thought, you're going to think I'm an idiot because I've already asked you this 10 times. So it's not just that there's not a place that's available or somebody to ask, it's that they don't want to do that and seem dumb. And so she
Yeah.
can, yeah, she can ask it all she wants to ask it. And then you don't have to look at my conversations and see how many times I asked
Yeah,
these
chat has
questions.
never called me dumb. Usually chat calls me brilliant.
Yes,
You're
yes.
brilliant. What brilliant insight you have. I'm sure you could train chat to call you dumb, but I don't know. I
I,
don't think you could. But yeah, chat has never said that's a really dumb idea. It will say that's a really dumb idea in a very PC way that doesn't make me feel stupid.
yes. It has a lot of constructive criticism.
Yes, it has the sandwich technique perfected.
Exactly.
So, like, we've talked about the different tools and we've talked about chat a lot. Is chat your favorite tool? Do you have any other favorite tools that you like?
Right now, chat's my favorite because I have used it for so long. It's so tuned into me now. And with the two businesses, I have a GPT for book coaching, and then I have a GPT for writing. I have a GPT for advertising. But occasionally, I will jump over into Claude. I either have subscriptions to everything simultaneously or I go back and forth. You exactly know how that is. But part of it is just like I try and stay focused on chat for now. And then somebody will say, "Oh, Claude is doing such and such," and I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta go back to Claude." It's kind of, "I'm sorry, Claude, it wasn't you, it was me. Let's get back together again." Can I
Yeah.
take you to dinner, Claude?
Steph and I talk about that a lot. And actually, it's really funny because by the time the episode airs, it'll be interesting to see what the consensus is. Because right now, people are hating on Claude because Claude is misbehaving like you would not believe. Claude is being a very naughty child. As soon as they do some tweaks on the back end, everyone's going to be in love with Claude again. It really is. Like, how do you feel about the AI today?
Yeah, exactly. My AI boyfriends. I found like chat last week. Something in his attitude changed and he was really obnoxious. And I was just like having these circular arguments. And I was like, I guess I just have to wait for them to change another line of code and turn the dial a little bit. And there'll go.
Yeah, I go back and forth between them for different tasks. I like GPT for the more logical tasks, the marketing tasks, those sorts of things. It's great at summarization, etc. I go to Claude now if I want to brainstorm ideas because it has access to the internet and it loves to be creative with me and all that kind of stuff. And then Gemini is also my boo. I love Gemini. It's fun and it writes very contemporary fun prose. So I go to it if I'm drafting, or they all have some sort of place in my life. And I
Yeah,
don't know how, I wouldn't know how to like get rid of any of them. I really,
it's the modern tagline.
why
Right?
choose?
I like that.
I mean, it's like, isn't that all our romance? Why do we have to choose now?
You don't. You don't have to choose anymore.
Just take one out occasionally and
Yeah. Do you have a favorite image generator as well? We talked a little bit about art in the very beginning of this conversation, so I was curious.
I start with Midjourney because I love the vibe of
Hmm.
Midjourney. I'm writing over 40 gritty urban fantasy and I can really get the vibe with Midjourney. But it's like with Chat and Claude, why choose? I'm also an ideogram. I've been using Free Pick because I'm really into animation now. And so I'm over on Free Pick, Veo, Kling.
I do want to jump in here because I will say, for those of you who do follow Jocelyn online, the videos she's been posting of stuff she's creating with AI, whew, they're really good. They're really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's taken a while to get the prompts. It's getting the prompts, it's getting the things dialed in. And I would say, like, today is like the first day I feel like I'm dialing in the workflow, the process to be able to get animated images out now. So I'm really excited. So there's going to be a lot coming out.
Excellent. I love it. I loved this conversation because we talked all about the different tools and how we use them, but also about new authors too coming into this business because I feel that new authors, they get shoved aside a little bit because all of the people who have been doing this for a decade or more, we had these established lives in this business and then suddenly it's all been upended by AI. But now there's a new crop of people who are coming in who can use the tools and they're finding their own voices with the tools and they're finding their readers, they're finding their market. And that is just really exciting to me. I don't ever want to be one of those people that shuts the door behind me when I come into a place. I want to leave it open for them.
And they're going to be coming in without the bias, without the emotional attachment. They're going to be excited about things in ways that we can't even think about. I think about being Gen X. I'm in my 50s now, and there was pre-technology and now. And I think about when technology first started coming into my life, it was all about the opportunities. It was all about what was possible. And I think about the writers that are coming in now that never didn't know a world with this possibility. And it's going to be a totally different mindset. And I'm so excited to see where it goes for them and what they create and what they build, because the sky is wide open. And I think it's just amazing seeing what people are creating.
It is. And I'm hoping that when people listen to this episode, they will think about that and encourage other newer writers to be open to these tools, to be excited about these tools for sure. So I want to thank you for coming and talking to us about this subject today, because this was a lot of fun. I want to make sure that we send people to you, to the right URLs and everything. So please let our audience know how to find you.
The easiest thing to do is to Google Jocelyn, Jocelyn, Lindsay, Lindsay. And you'll find my author stuff. You'll find my book coaching things. You will find my Instagram. I think that's just probably one of the easiest ways to go. And then I will make sure you have my information for your notes. And if you're a new writer out there that's starting to play with these tools, please let me know. Contact me. I love talking to new writers about this. I'm always open to a conversation.
Fantastic. I will Google you as well and add all of those things to the show notes when we put them together for everybody. So everybody who's been listening, definitely come by bravenewbookshelf.com, check out the show notes, any of our links and all that kind of stuff. Ms. Danica Favorite, what do you want to say to bring out the end of this episode?
First of all, thank you, Jocelyn, for being here. I knew this would be a great episode. You and I have had some conversations in other areas about AI, and I knew this would be good. And really just that same encouragement to the newer authors, but also to the older authors, like really be careful about how you are encouraging the newer authors, because this is a golden opportunity for everybody, the newer authors, but also for you. You have that endless possibility of really cool things you can do if you're just willing to step outside your comfort zone just a little bit. That is what I'm excited about and why I've been on this journey with Steph, and so happy to have people like Jocelyn along with us. But for those of you who want to keep up with Brave New Bookshelf and all of the cool things that Future Fiction Academy are doing and Publish Drive is doing, make sure you're following all three on social, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. We want to make sure that you get all of this information. If you see an episode that you really love, please make sure you're sharing that too, because the more we can get the word out, the more people we can help.
Absolutely. Excellent. All right, guys, this was a great conversation. I'm looking forward to talking with everybody in the future about these fantastic topics, because I really feel like this is where we need to keep people up to date about everything that's going on. So it's very exciting. Okay, so from me and Danica and Jocelyn, we'll say bye for now, and we'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Brave New Bookshelf. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. You can also visit us at bravenewbookshelf.com, sign up for our newsletter, and get all the show notes.